The day I committed to breaking free from our conflict loop, I didn't make the commitment in private. I did it standing before a seminar of 20 graduate students and 4 teaching assistants in my class on optimal outcomes at Columbia University. I hoped using this real, raw episode in my life would help my students see that the practices I'd be presenting over the course of the 3-day workshop could successfully be applied to any conflict, no matter how close or seemingly cataclysmic. I also wanted them to understand that good things come from making yourself vulnerable. But I was still nervous. I was opening myself up to a seminar full of graduate students who at that point were still strangers to me. Would they think it was odd to dedicate class time to my mother and me? Would my being so personal alienate them? I found out quickly that I had nothing to fear. As I described our conflict in more detail, which I'll do for you too in a bit, I saw heads nodding and eyes sparkling with engagement. Of course they got it. Aside from the fact that they had parental figures in their own lives, they also had conflict so potent, so frustrating, that they had gone to tough places too. Me, you, everyone. We all deal with conflict all the time. It doesn't matter how much we love our family, respect our colleagues, or like our neighbors. Conflict happens. You do your best to manage it well, of course. Sometimes your efforts pay off. Other times, no matter what you do, the same problem keeps coming back again and again and again, despite your best attempts to resolve it. Like me, you feel stuck. You've tried everything, and you're at a complete loss for what to do next. That's where I was the day I let my students into my story. Being stuck in conflict was taking time and energy that I wanted to spend in an affirming way with the people I cared about, including my mother. Instead, everywhere I went, I was thinking about the situation while brushing my teeth, commuting, putting my kids to sleep, listening to people who had come to me for counsel. I was even dreaming about it. Let's face it, being stuck in conflict can make it difficult to be present with what you're doing and contribute the way you'd like to the people and world around you. If any of this sounds familiar, the first thing I want you to understand is you're not alone. Getting stuck in conflict is prevalent, even among the most seasoned leaders in business, academia, and government, some of whom I've consulted with and whose stories I share throughout this book. I've changed identifying details such as names and industries to protect my clients' and students' privacy. However, each of these stories reflects my experience working with leaders on some of the toughest problems they've faced in their professional and personal lives. How I got here. In my work as an organizational psychologist at the company I founded, Alignment Strategies Group, I've used the optimal outcomes method over the past 13 years to help turn around challenging situations facing executives at some of the world's leading organizations, universities, and public institutions. As a professor, I've spent more than a decade teaching the optimal outcomes method to mid-career professionals and students who come to Columbia University's Morton Deutsch International Center for Cooperation and Conflict Resolution from an array of Columbia's graduate schools: business, international affairs, psychology, education, religion, and law. At the end of the 3-day workshop, people who entered the room grappling with daunting conflicts leave revitalized with fresh perspective and a new sense of freedom. I've written this book with the hopes that it will bring that sense of freedom to you as well. The optimal outcomes method reaches beyond what you may have encountered if you've read books on conflict resolution in the past. In my early career, I served as a facilitator at Harvard Law School's Program on Negotiation, PON, the world's most respected resource on dispute resolution and negotiation. That put me into the classrooms and conference rooms of 2 men who today remain giants in the field: the late Roger Fisher, who co-authored the seminal Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In 1981, and Bruce